Let's bring back our panel, Matea Gold, Chris Chocola, and Helene Cooper. Helene, I want to start with you. I had Jake Harney on earlier. I read they're unveiling a new reset in September on a jobs plan, two separate plans, a jobs plan and then a specific debt reduction plan. And then I read him the lead from a Washington Post article in December 2009 about how the president in January was going to come back with a jobs plan. They've tried this a few times and it hasn't worked.
I gotta say, Chuck, that tone in your voice sounds like you've heard this all before. I think they've tried this so many times. I wish I had $1 for every time I'd written a story that said White House is shifting to jobs, 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 because this is something that they've kept trying to do and it just hasn't gone anywhere. But what I found really interesting about this latest announcement now, which is that President Obama in September is going to be coming out with another new plan, is that they said half of that is going to be an attempt to relaunch the grand bargain. Every time you hear the words grand bargain, we should now attach them to a search for moderate voters. A lot of this is about 2012. It's not because he doesn't believe in the grand bargain. Very many people believe this is the grand bargain is the best way that the country can move, can get forward and get beyond this whole debate, and that it would in so many ways, you know, punch a lot of holes. But what they're also thinking is that independent voters, and these are the people that President Obama desperately needs if he is going to win re-election in 2012, really want a deficit reduction package. They really want a grand bargain. And that's what this is all about.
You know, Matea, the risk in putting this plan out there, trying to sell it in the fall, is if you fail. Now, the president seemed to hint that if they fail, he'll run against Congress if that's what he does. But what is the risk of not getting something done that you roll out in September and say, this is the plan and I'm going to do it, and what if it doesn't pass?
Sure. I mean, I think it's an interesting strategy to position himself against Congress. On one hand, it makes sense with Congress's approval ratings at an all-time low. But on the other hand, can you really cast yourself as presidential if you say Congress wouldn't let me do what I needed to do to fix the country and fix the economy? So that is going to be the difficult argument I think he's going to have to sell the public. Is he going to really seem in control and presidential if he just merely says, my hands are tied here?
Congressman Chocola, is there any way, when you hear about the president rolling out a debt deal that is the Obama-Boehner, what they may have got close to agreeing to, the $800 billion that would come out of reform of the tax code, he throws that to the tax committee. Anybody that supports that, will Club for Growth work against them?
Well, it's yet to be seen. You know, we're all for pro-growth tax reform. We're all for broadening the base and lowering the marginal rates. But if you listen to the president on the campaign or on the bus trip, you know, he talks about let's raise taxes like Warren Buffett says, which is another issue unto itself. Let's spend more, but let's call it something like a infrastructure investment bank. If that is his plan, I don't think there's an appetite for that in the Congress and the country. Even in his own party, they don't want to raise taxes. You know, the question I'd ask is, when has Keynesian-style stimulus spending in the history of the world ever created economic growth? The only person I've ever heard answer that is Paul Krugman. He says never. It's because we always lose our nerve and we never spend enough. So I hope the president's plan isn't to test that theory, but I'm afraid it might be.
Hey, very quickly, Congressman, Paul Ryan, Chris Christie, room for one more in the race?
I think there's room for as many as they want to be. It'd be, you know, we would love to see more people get in the race. We would love to write more white papers and analyze their economic records, and they'd both be very interesting candidates.
All right, shameless plug, very fast. Helene Cooper.
Counterstrike by Tom Shanker and Eric Schmidt. These are two New York Times national security correspondents who've written this fantastic book that just came out yesterday called Counterstrike. It's about the last 10 years of American defensive posture around the world.
Fantastic. Matea Gold.
We had a front page story yesterday about the mega donors who have fueled Rick Perry's campaigns in Texas and how they've seen benefits under his tenure from the state, including permission to build a low-level radioactive waste disposal site.
And those names might be Super PAC donors. And finally, Congressman.
Again, check out clubforgrowth.org, check out our white papers, and you can learn about the economic record of all the Republican presidential candidates.
You got the same shameless plug-in twice. Anyway, Congressman, thank you. Thank you all. Helene, Matea, Congressman Chocola. That's it for this edition of the Daily Rundown. Tomorrow on the show, Republican Party Chairman Reince Priebus joins us.